Today we are here at the 31st Annual History Day Fair in St. Lucie County. Today we are judging the exhibit and performance categories and are so excited to have 48 projects here this morning. Our website, documentaries, and research papers have been judged virtually this week from judges across the district and the state. This year's theme, chosen by National History Day, is Frontiers in History, People, Places, Ideas. A great theme this year for students to choose topics of a wide variety of interests so that they can find something that they are interested in to do research. We are so proud of all of our students here today and those that were being judged virtually this week.
We wanted to do something that was related to things that our peers did in like a historical context. We did a lot of research on interviews of participants who were involved in the walkouts, so we learned a lot from primary sources, people who were actually involved in the walkouts specifically. Surprises were that this was largely student-led and how big the walkouts were, with over 130,000 students, families, and community members participating in this walkout. That was pretty surprising to see how the large mass of people were involved. I think it was very significant today because it was one of the first walkouts to occur with students and student voice activism that trickled into today, as we see with gun violence, students walking out of schools, like the Stoneman Douglas walkout and other walkouts, with students using their voices to stand up for what they believe in.
A surprise in my research was that back then, like in the 1800s, they didn't have like a good education system for African Americans. It evolved from not being like having a free education system and growing into other ideas and choices. Most of my research was done through websites and articles. My inspiration for my project was learning about the Black community and how their education system was back then.
former half of the 20th century, railroads were restructuring themselves to better compete against road transportation. With a greater emphasis on speed, companies were taking any measure they could get their hands on to reduce travel times and maintenance costs. Ever since rail's inception, one of the major sticking points were the axle bearings. To hold the wheel sets onto the frames of the trucks, bearings were made from brass journals that simply spun in place. They would be lubricated with grease and cotton packing, which needed to be refilled periodically in order to ensure reliability. But it was not uncommon for these to be left to run dry and eventually overheat, which would cause what's commonly referred to as hot boxes. It would only take one of these to bring the train to a stop, wherever it was on the railroad, while the crew members would try putting the fire out and cooling the bearing down. With most of the country's rail lines being single track with passing sidings, though, this would cause the line to be blocked, delaying other trains and causing a ripple effect throughout the entire division.
I thought it was fabulous. I love to do this. It's my favorite part of my job all year long. I like the science projects and the history fair projects, so it's very enjoyable. I thought they did a great job. Always proud to see our students presenting their best work to teachers. It's not an easy thing to do, and the public, and we had board members here too, so it was fabulous. There was a very high caliber of projects here today. There were several that I think we're going to recommend to go on to states, and that's not easy because the game gets upped at every single level, but we have several here that I think could definitely hold their own. I think the value of this is really the project itself, to have the students engage in the activity and come together either as a group or even working as an individual to go through the process, to learn how to write the process paper, to look into something that's difficult like an annotated bibliography, and to learn from the mistakes that they make here at this level. Because again, if we have several students going on, they have the opportunity now to make some tweaks and changes to those projects based on the feedback that they get from the judges. I think, as most of these projects prove today, all of these significant projects in history or events in history inform what we do today. And there were impacts economically, socially, politically that these students definitely brought to light in their projects.
always liked filmmaking, and I like horror movies and thrillers, so I wanted to pick Alfred Hitchcock because he was like the one that introduced it. I just wanted to look at his young childhood, really, and I used a lot of books to do that, and newspapers, as you can see. He actually makes cameos in his movies, which I found like cool because when I was watching his movies, I kind of like looked for him. Yeah, I did.
I think the event was put together extremely well. A lot of students are getting a chance to showcase all the hard work they've been putting in since the beginning of the year, because this project is kind of cumulative and we build up to this event. And I think a lot of the students are well-spoken, giving a chance to share a lot about what they've learned, and not just about history, but also the critical thinking skills that they develop throughout the course. I think all of the schools have done an excellent job. I think all of the students, since we do like school fairs, I think all the students show that from the school fairs they've developed some different skills, and they've really well spoken, and they can explain to adults what their project's about and what they've learned. Well, we've been preparing throughout the year with different steps. So we first started on them developing research skills, and then once they've developed research skills, they started to piece together their project, and we've done a school fair, grade level fairs. So this isn't the first time students have got a chance to showcase their projects. This just happens to be the biggest one. The value of History Day really starts again from the beginning, getting the students to choose a topic that they're passionate about rather than them having to just study what's in the textbook. They get to work outside the textbook and develop the critical thinking and research skills that they need, not just for history fair and not just for history and social studies itself, but really something that can cross all content areas and all walks of life. The advantage of knowing history in general is knowing where we come from and learning about the trials and tribulations from the past so we can make better informed decisions for the future. And that's what makes these projects so impactful, because they all have to be based on frontiers in history, and allows students to kind of think about what could be some more modern day frontiers and how would we tackle those based on the information that we gained from the past.